So this session asks, what do we need in setting Australia's wellbeing agenda? And we're asking Geoff to come up. He's going to start it out with, as I said, the rural section. Geoff is a senior research fellow at the Institute for Resilient Regions at the University of Southern Queensland. He's a board chair for ANDI, which we'll know what the acronyms are soon. The Brisbane Housing Committee, the Thriving Children Queensland Partnership, and he's also the Wellbeing Economy Alliance Research Fellow, and much, much more. So you can read more about his biography later. So Geoff, come on up.
Thanks, Di. Similarly, had tears in the eyes yesterday when Phil was speaking, and particularly at the same point in time. It's amazing, and I'd like to think of my inner challenge has been happening for a while, but certainly there's times at which it gets a little bit jaded. So it's been great. I wanted to say up front, it's been great to be not just part of this, but also just playing a small part with the terrific team that's pulled it together under Jackie's stewardship. It's been terrific to be part of that, and really wanted to acknowledge that before today. I'm going to kick off straight away with this video. Is that playing? Yep.
Australia, a continent as old as time, a land whose people have roamed for 70,000 years, a natural wonder held in awe by all who see, diverse in landscape, rich in culture. But why are we in such a hurry to advance, develop and grow? Into the cities we are drawn. We go here for jobs, a family and homes. We urbanize our efforts, our thinking, our focus. So how can we be connected, equal and one? And what of our regions, our rural towns, our remote and distant places? The people seem stoic, resilient and get by. But we need to look deep, to pull back the covers and ensure these communities are not forgotten or left behind. We must enhance the well-being of our rural communities so they can flourish. We know all is not well outside of the cities. Imagine thriving, resilient, prosperous regions where no Australian is left behind.
As a proud Australian, we have to take charge of our destiny for the sustainability of our rural communities. The policies developed in the cities just don't work for the bush. Imagine if well-being, resilience and prosperity were at the forefront of decision-making in our communities. That's exactly what a well-being framework would deliver.
We know we can lead change. We are all leaders. We can all influence. We are adaptive and we have the skills to lead. Imagine using these attributes to galvanise change and support our rural communities to grow and succeed.
As rural leaders, we're using our unified voice and desire to empower our communities to thrive. Imagine an Australia where we harness the well-being of our rural communities to make better decisions that benefit all Australians. That's the Australia I want to see.
Oops, sorry. I'll go back. If I go forward now, go forward one, that'd be great. And then I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you. That actually is a reprise for those of you who were at our first gathering, Building Wellbeing into Policy in what was that, November 2022, and it was presented by Stuart Crossroad, who is an alpine dairy farmer in Victoria, and he presented that video as part of, he was one of that in that final group shot That's the cohort of the Australian Rural Leadership Foundation's core leadership program that they run annually. That they're all known by their number in order of cohorts. That's cohort 26, and not to wax lyrical about them too long, but that was quite a remarkable outcome. Not just that the group, all those graduates landed on the importance of wellbeing being, above all what they wanted to do. But that cohort actually graduated in 2019. So they've stuck at it, obviously through COVID, and really wanted to see something happen very early. I think in the piece made contact, obviously, with Jackie, and that we're really keen on utilising the Region Wellbeing Index, but they wanted to do a lot more, particularly about implementing it at a local community leadership level, which is effectively what comes into what I just wanted to talk very briefly about today, which is a project that Jackie and I are going to be taking on, in which we are really trying to do justice to that cohort's desire. And it's come about, and I'll give it a little bit of a background as well, but Australian Rural Leadership Foundation runs so many now place-based programs that are spin-offs, if you like, or variations on their core leadership course. Some of them have been in collaboration with the Foundation for Regional and Rural Renewal, who you heard from Natalie yesterday, but most of them have been in their own right. And that's just a little map of them. I'm putting up mainly in terms of putting how much I've been immersed in it all, because I've been leading the monitoring, evaluation, learning component of pretty much all those programs. So that's been a big part of my world in the last couple of years. But I also wanted to say that it's not just that cohort that's elevated wellbeing. It's I hear it all the time, every day when I'm out doing that good old-fashioned participatory action research. You don't hear much about that these days, but that's what it is. There's so many people that bring wellbeing to the table and to the fore, and that without any forced, prods or triggers for it. It's constantly coming up. So it's an organic thing. It's real, and it's out there, and people want it. We're doing this project, which I'll say a little bit more about, but again, just briefly, but with an interesting philanthropic, the Gardner Foundation. The Gardner Foundation's Victorian-based, and an outcome from the deregulation of the dairy industry in Victoria in the early 2000s. So they're just about to celebrate their 25-year anniversary next year. And the Gardner Foundation, we've, as Jackie and I have come to very much know, are so determined to prioritise wellbeing in my mind, the most genuine and authentic way that I've seen, certainly from a philanthropic. It's right at the top of their tree. It's captured there in their current five-year, 2024 to 2028 strategic plan. It's captured there under community development, but it really does strike at the core of what they're doing. So I'm not needing to do a sales pitch for the Gardner Foundation, but it's been tremendous so far. We're yet to actually officially commence the project, but I'll tell you a little bit about that. Also reprising a slide from 2 days ago that Jackie put up in her overview of regional wellbeing through the index, but to highlight, as she did so powerfully, that actually amongst different rural sectors, there are personal levels of wellbeing that are high, but we can still see that dairy farmers have the highest proportion there of low wellbeing across those sectors. So that definitely stands out in the work we're about to undertake. Well, of course, also Jackie highlighted in that how much work's going on in Australia, and clearly we're drawing very much on on the regional wellbeing survey. But also the real emphasis here is, again, to try to drill down and get down and dirty in the grassroots about what it actually means to do something about wellbeing in rural Australia, in this case, rural Victoria. So we do really want to confront a lot of those narratives, again, that we've heard a fair bit about over the last few days, but still many mythologies which still persist around rural people's resilience, which, as Susie very powerfully said right at the end of yesterday, is under massive pressure. So yeah, again, I promised I'd be short, and I will be. Just as the slide to capture what we're about to undertake over a 2-year period in 3 Victorian dairy communities, still to be selected in terms of going through an ERI process, about to start. The first half of which is got a large accent on building a wellbeing resource hub, including a wellbeing dashboard toolkit, again, drawing on a lot of the terrific work that Jackie and her team have done in this space and will continue to do very closely with those 3 communities. And then we're tacking onto that, I guess that's my part that I'm leading, what we're calling a wellbeing leadership program, and really trying to do some really good work on the ground, but deliberately trying to attract community leaders across sectors, right across the whole community. And if there's, I've been in what's now called the sort of place-based working sector for a long time now, and there's still, interestingly, there's still a remarkable lack of leadership programs, often little short ones, often lots of rhetoric about the importance of leadership, but we still haven't seen it actually result in a lot of leadership programs. Even though I flashed those ones up before, there's still there's still a real lack of leadership programs, particularly ones that are deliberately and purposefully trying to work in a cross-sectoral way. So that's the emphasis there, and we're seeing a suite of webinars and materials, but it will involve a couple of really strong intensive workshops, several days long, in which we also would like, again, kind of using that ARLF model for small groups to be really, again, activating wellbeing in their particular area of interest, and through what's just referred to as a small group project or a community action initiative, but one, again, when it's a real emphasis on implementing, doing something of purpose and of value with all this data that's going to be assembled and at that community's table to use. So yeah, I'll finish with it. I did say I was going to do a little cameo, and I'm always a bit reluctant, as I'm sure many of you in the audience are as well, about talking up a project that still hasn't started. So I might leave it at that. And thanks. Over to my good friend and mentor, Mike.